Is everybody ready for the future?
Yeah.
No, I want to go
Maybe.
back.
Because Microsoft's
where are you
taking
going
us
with
there.
this? Oh, I'm
Microsoft
ready.
is taking us to the future. I've always
Yes, they
said
are.
streaming is where games of the future is at.
It's true. I've heard
And
you say
right.
that many times.
I think that what Xbox has announced, while it has nothing to do with streaming per se, it's a precursor to what they will be doing with streaming.
Yep.
So Microsoft has, even though it was rumored for the last few weeks, Microsoft has announced officially the Microsoft Xbox All Access program.
Yep.
What is that, you ask, Gordy?
What is that?
I'll tell you what that is, Gordy. So what this way is basically a new way for potential customers to buy an Xbox One X with a financing plan that Microsoft itself is putting together called Xbox All Access. This also applies to the Xbox One S. Purchasers of this plan get access to the following: an Xbox One, either an S or an X, 24 months of Game Pass, and 24 months of Xbox Live. Now, if you were to do the Xbox One S plan, you can do that for $21.99 for 24 months. Or the Xbox One X plan is $34.99 for 24 months. So the leasing plan. However, and what I don't have here in the notes, is what's excellent about this and why this is a great idea is if you were to do the Xbox One S plan, those three things for 24 months at $21.99 saves you a total of almost $150-ish than if you were to buy them all outright.
Oh, wow. So
Now-
there's a deal to it.
There's a deal. And if you were to buy the Xbox One X version, there is still a saving, but it's only of about like $22.
So they've increased their accessibility to a mass market. They've given them a deal. It's cheaper. Did they just move the frickin' queen into the check space on the board? Is like
I hope you know your chess because I don't know
so
if that's a good move.
You
or
know,
not.
is the king in
Not
check?
the right.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
think it
this
is.
is not a checkmate here, but how do you think Sony and we are going to react to this?
Well, Wii's been dead for years.
You know, Nintendo.
You mean Nintendo?
Nintendo.
I think Nintendo doesn't give a fuck what Microsoft
I think you're
does.
right about
Nintendo doesn't. Nintendo is like that clown.
Nintendo Sphere. They're in
Nintendo's
their
like that
own
clown
bubble.
from that fucking '90s Saturday Night Live ripoff. Homie, don't play that with Marlon Wayans.
That's definitely in living color.
Thank you.
They don't care. Nintendo doesn't care what anyone does. They're doing Nintendo shit.
So
Yeah.
will Sony react?
If we don't see something like this from Sony in 6 months, I'll be surprised.
I'll tell you why I don't think Sony's going to react.
Yeah.
One word: hubris. I think
Hubris.
that Sony. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a multi-console gamer. I have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I have an Xbox One X. I have a Nintendo Switch, and I play them. What are you looking at your fucking watch so much for? Are you in a rush to leave?
No.
All right, because I'm your ride. You can't go anywhere. You're trapped
Oh.
until the podcast is over.
Oh,
But PlayStation is got such a market dominance right now over the Xbox One and the PlayStation, the Xbox One and Nintendo, that I feel like they think they're on top of the world and they don't need to innovate particularly to come out on top. Now, I could be speaking completely out of turn here, but I don't think that PlayStation will follow suit because I think that they're like, we're fine. We don't need to fucking do that kind of dumb shit. Where I think that they're going to be sorely mistaken because while Microsoft did stumble pretty heavily at the start of their run with the Xbox One, they have now, I feel like, made up for it. While not in exclusive games, although those are coming in the next couple of years because they've acquired all these new studios. But I think they are making up for it in a pretty big way with the Game Pass, this new All Access program, and all these just things that they do that make the Xbox One an excellent place to game. You could pay $10 a month for access to hundreds of games that are effectively yours until they're no longer on the Game Pass. It's the Netflix of gaming, and that's pioneering a new thing that I always thought the industry would go into. I'm just excited to see that Microsoft's doing it first. This All Access program, of course, is subject to a credit decision. There is no interest. It's similar, if you need a comparison, is to the iPhone upgrade program.
Yep.
The only thing is they are marketing it right now as a limited time offer, which means it maybe will run for the holiday season and then maybe we'll be gone after the first of the year. I don't know. It'd be cool to see them have it all the time, but maybe there's some long-term financial losses to having it if they do that. I don't know. Anyway, this moves us closer. Was this your note or my note? Somebody wrote this note. It's a good note.
That's me. This is moving us closer to the video game industry being a service platform. Just like every other game that you hear come out recently, this is a platform. Monster Hunter is a platform for Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck does that mean for, like, what if every game is a gaming platform for them to just stack shit on top of? I think that only means good things for the people that play video games.
Yeah, I agree. And I think why I say this is a precursor to streaming, because obviously the rumors of the Xbox Scarlet, a version of that being a streaming-only console, I think that this is all games as a service, video games, this industry becoming more as a service. It would make only sense that if there was a version of the Xbox that was like a Netflix box, where you bought the box and you could stream everything with the option to buy. Like, you could go out and buy Blu-rays right now if you wanted, but you could also just watch Netflix movies. I think that's where we're heading, and I think that's where we'll see. I think Microsoft will be the first company to pioneer that jump, and then I think Sony will be forced to follow suit, and then Nintendo will just keep coming out with fucking age-old systems that are like 3 or 4 years behind.
I think
what you have to remember, though, is Sony's already doing the streaming thing.
Yeah, but it sucks. It's garbage.
Gaikai?
It's not good.
No. What the fuck is Gaikai?
Gaikai is who they acquired to... Gaikai
that's
is
the old name.
Yeah,
I have no problems with my service.
Well, maybe we're talking about two different things, because I'm talking about PlayStation Now, which they have is where you could stream PlayStation games. But it's capped at 720p. It's got a significant controller lag. It's just not the experience that you want it to be, per se, when you think about streaming games.
Is that still happening? Because I'm playing games on it with like 2 frames of lag, which is not discernible to the human eye.
The lag is going to be all dependent on your connection. So when I was trying PlayStation Now, I was on a Wi-Fi connection, so I had more lag than probably you would have. But the resolution cap is still in place. I just checked on that a couple weeks ago. It's still capped at 720p.
That's still a thing.
So it's like, now that we're moving into a 4K age, it's just not really like an acceptable thing to be like, I want to pay monthly for, like, right now, like I'm on Netflix. And I stream 4K HDR movies constantly from Netflix. I would expect, even though the ramifications of what your internet speeds would need to be like to be able to do this, but if to have a successful streaming service, you would need to stream at fucking modern day resolutions. You'd have to.
At least 1080. And I agree with that, but it's the notion that this is new and that Microsoft is doing it first is not correct.
No,
PlayStation has been doing this for a while. Microsoft made it better.
Yeah,
I'll give you that all day.
What I'm saying is it's going to be like BlackBerry. It's going to be like the smartphone thing. There was BlackBerries. There was the implications of a smartphone. And then Apple came out and changed the world with the first fucking iPhone. And it's going to be the same thing. There's like PlayStation Now. There's game streaming here and there. But then I think Microsoft's going to come out and do something that's going to be like, oh, that's how it should be. And that's the way it will be going forward, is what I mean by that.
Do you think it's going to be Microsoft?
Well, I think they're the first ones that are dipping their fingers into it, and I think that...
I know that Google has a better infrastructure for it, but I don't think they have the platform.
They don't have a platform, and honestly, it would be very tough to introduce a fourth platform into the ecosystem at this time.
It's weird that they're trying.
It is weird, but we'd have to really see what they come out with. So, as for Google, I think it is very interesting that they're trying to dig into the industry, because it's like
bizarre.
It's like you've got Apple and you've got Samsung and Google that are making, and by Samsung, obviously the firmware is Google. So you basically got Apple and Google, who are the center stage of, fucking phones. It's like gaming. You've got Microsoft and Sony, and then Nintendo's in there. You can't really squeeze in there and expect people to take you seriously.
I don't know how anybody could,
unless it's massive, unless it hits the market with like a gigantic bang. No, it's not going to happen.
I don't see them doing that at all. I don't think it's a sound business decision. So they do have the infrastructure for it. Microsoft would be next up. Sony would have to go. I mean, they have money. Sony has money. They can do it.
Yeah, and I think
you're right. I think you're right with Microsoft.
I think Microsoft, because they're just a little bit more innovative. I think that the CEO of Microsoft is very let's do things to change the world. Let's, with HoloLens, let's do all these interesting things. And then, of course, Phil Spencer is like, let's take these innovation policies and apply them to video games. How can we make Xbox a different type of experience than what you can get on PlayStation? And I think that once they realized they could not compete with PlayStation as just a standard console, then they started veering off. They're like, what can we try? So now let's do Xbox Game Pass. So that's working out very well. It's a very fucking cool experience. I pay $10 a month and have access to just a fucking huge library of games.
Massive
amount of games.
And of course, I mean, that's the only way I was able to play Sea of Thieves, all the first-party games going on there. It's very cool. And now with the speculations that they're going to be, and then now with this Xbox All Access platform, that's super innovative. That's very cool. That's very Apple. And now with the probably going forward with this Xbox Scarlet, whatever that ends up being, but the industry rumblings are that there will be two versions of the Scarlet. One will be a very pro consumer level console, and then there will be a cheaper version that is just a streaming box. I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be really cool, whatever it ends up being. Now they just need some fucking exclusives.
Yeah, now they need video games.
Yeah.
They're probably being forced in. This is the beautiful thing about competition. They've probably been forced into this kind of space where they're pushing for innovation because PlayStation has a decisive advantage with gamers, and that's probably being driven very heavily by the first-party title games.
Absolutely. So. You're not wrong, Gorgeous.
No, I think you're 100% correct. My question with all that, like, it's going to be good. I have a concern when it comes to competitive games because streaming like a fighting game or a shooter at an esports level with lag ain't going to go well on that on that level. But I'm sure they'll just be like, just fucking download it. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I mean, that's you're totally right. There's got to be some options in play for different scenarios because yes, in a competitive level, you can't have like a glitchy experience. Like you can't sacrifice performance when there's money on the line. So there will especially. But if they do have the option where like if you can stream this game, but if you're like if you want it, you can buy it for $60, and that's probably what it'll be. Just like now, you can download a digital game.
But I think we're looking at two things. With this being implemented and assuming Sony follows suit with a better streaming service with more games on it, because it's pretty much just a bunch of PS1 through 3 games on it right now, which I'm not complaining. I fucking love those games. But I think you're looking at two things in the future with this kind of announcement. One, bye-bye GameStop. Fucking poof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
GameStop
Physical games are going out the fucking window.
And they have been for quite some time. And I think
this is the push off the cliff that I think it needs.
Yeah, they're definitely physical games and physical media has been standing on the edge of the cliff for a while, looking off. Like imagine they had fucking physical games were like they're like those dudes that peaked in high school. They're like, man, when I was in high school, I fucking got so many touchdowns, and now they're just like they keep wearing their old high school jacket, but it's not relevant anymore. And so now they've realized their unimportance, and they're walking up. They're looking over the edge. They're like, do I kill myself? Am I a worthless person?
And then Microsoft's like, nah, bitch, and just fucking kicks them off the cliff.
Exactly, that's what it is. They're hesitant. They don't want to jump off because they're like, but the football dream, I could go back to the high school and fucking. And then Microsoft sneaks up behind them and Sparta kicks them, and they're like, this is the future.
Bang. I also think the other thing we're looking at is, and this is far-fetched and tinfoil hatty for me, but like, man, they sell cell phones with data plans on them. They sell tablets with data plans on them. Are they going to start selling fucking consoles with data plans on them? So I can go anywhere and just plug it in and have an internet connection?
That's an interesting point. I like some of the ways you think. This is one of them.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. It's possible.
But it's a thing that I think the rest of the technological industry is fucking smart everything. We're Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and 4K and HDR, all this crazy shit. What's stopping them from putting a fucking wireless card in a goddamn Xbox and going, you got internet, it's $10 a month. See ya.
Well, they already have wireless cards. I think you mean like a...
No. Like they can have internet anywhere.
Network card.
If a cell phone can have internet there. yeah, then a fucking Xbox can have internet there. I don't think that's too far-fetched.
What's funny is, and I heard this on a different podcast the other day, and I thought it was a good point that I wanted to bring over into ours. Plagiarism, IGN.
Ooh.
But,
Can't spell ignorant without IGN.
That's right. No, so there was discussion about how everyone, like so many years ago, was all up in arms about we fucking cutting the cord, getting rid of cable TV. It's too expensive. It's ridiculous. But now it's funny because here we are with Xbox and Hulu and Spotify and now Xbox All Access, where you're renting your Xbox and all these other subscription services that are probably adding up to be much more than you ever paid for your fucking cable TV to have all these experiences. It's funny, but for some reason I'm more willing. It's more accessible to my wallet, thinking of it in a bite-sized portion than rather.
I think the reason for that is, like, if you get cable, you don't get to decide what's on that TV. Whatever's on, you watch. Whereas if you're paying for Netflix or Hulu or whatever fucking game you want to play on an Xbox or a PlayStation, you made that decision, not someone else.
For sure.
I want to watch this movie right now. Fucking do it. And I think that's why people are more likely to pay for Game Pass and PlayStation Now and Netflix and like all that shit. Fucking, I pay for Netflix and Hulu and Funimation and Crunchyroll, and I'm probably gonna get the fucking Disney one because my girlfriend's a Disney nut, and I'm not gonna care.
Gots to do the Disney one because of those fucking Star Wars shows, dog. Hey guys, thanks for watching that clip of the Boss Battle Show. Did you know that that's a longer, more produced show that you can listen to in your ears on any podcasting service of your choice? Check it out now. You won't be disappointed.